Hey, friends. Welcome back to Unlearning the Good Girl here on Embrace Your Value. Today, let's have a conversation around something that is so important, but it's also something that we don't really realize is happening. And that's feeling responsible for everyone else's emotions. I think this pattern is one of the biggest reasons so many of us women feel emotionally exhausted all the time. Because when you feel responsible for everyone else's emotional state, you never actually get to relax. Your nervous system is constantly working. It's monitoring, reading the room, watching tone changes, trying to prevent disappointment, trying to avoid conflict, trying to make sure everyone feels okay. And after enough years of doing that, your body starts operating like a full-time emotional surveillance system. It's exhausting. And many people don't even recognize this pattern because it looks so much like caring. But there's a big difference between caring about people and feeling emotionally responsible for them. And that difference changes everything. I remember realizing at one point in my own life that I could walk into a room and instantly feel everyone else's energy. I knew who was irritated, who was uncomfortable, who was stressed, who was pulling away emotionally, who was happy, who had news to share but couldn't get the right time to share it. I knew all these things that were going on for people. Not because I was psychic, not because I had some superpower, but because I was always taking on everyone else's emotional energy and making sure everybody was okay. So I was paying attention. I was noticing it all. But noticing all that, if someone had asked me how I felt in that moment, I honestly wouldn't have known. Because taking on everyone else's emotion had made mine disappear. Depended on who I was standing next to as to what I felt. If somebody was complaining about someone, then I was complaining about them. If somebody was happy about something, then I was happy about something. I didn't have any real feelings of my own. And I think a lot of us live this way without realizing that we become deeply disconnected from ourselves. And this happens a lot if you grew up in environments where someone's anger affected everyone. Conflict felt unsafe. You had to stay emotionally aware to avoid tension, or being good meant keeping other people happy. And another place this showed up is if you had somebody who always swept problems under the rug, so they never really got dealt with. A lot of us learned very early that if everyone else is okay, then I can relax. But here's the problem. There will always be another emotion to manage, another reaction to soften, another problem to solve, another disappointment to absorb. And if your nervous system is consistently scanning everybody else, you lose connection with yourself. This is where so many of us start living almost entirely externally. And what I mean by that is what I just said a minute ago. It means your mood depends on everybody else's mood. Your peace depends on everybody else being okay. Your nervous system depends on nobody being upset with you or other people. That's not emotional freedom. It's quite the opposite. It's emotional captivity. And this pattern often hides inside behaviors that people praise, like checking on everyone consistently, over explaining so nobody misunderstands you, fixing problems before people even ask. That's me right there. I step in before people even ask because I don't want anybody else to have to deal with it. I see it's a problem, I'm going to fix it. Working on it, trust me. Taking responsibility for tension in the room. Trying to make everybody comfortable. I have a little of that one too. I have a little of all of them, to be honest. Or feeling guilty anytime someone is disappointed. But underneath these behaviors is one deep fear. If someone is upset, I've done something wrong. That belief quietly controls so many of our lives. Because then every emotion around us starts feeling personal. If someone's quiet, we overanalyze it. If someone seems irritated, our nervous system spirals. If someone's disappointed, we immediately feel guilty. And if someone's stressed, we absorb it in our own body. And after enough years of this, many of us stop asking, what do I feel? And instead we ask, how is everybody else feeling about me? You see the difference? We want to know what they're thinking of us because we can't come up with it because we don't know how they feel yet. I worked with a woman one time who told me she spent her entire family gatherings monitoring everyone else's emotional state. Was everyone okay? Was anyone upset? Did anyone feel left out? Was there tension? Did someone misunderstand something? And by the time the gathering ended, she was so completely emotionally exhausted. Not because the event itself was bad, not because she overdid it physically, but because her nervous system never stopped working. Another client once told me, I feel like I can only relax once everyone else is happy. That broke my heart a little bit because that's not her responsibility. I spend most of my days reminding women, beautiful, capable, amazing women, that they don't have to own anyone else's emotional garbage. If someone is mad at them, it's not their responsibility. That's what this is all about. You don't have to own it. So many women are waiting for universal emotional peace before they allow themselves to breathe. And that day is never coming. There's always going to be another emotion, another need, another reaction, another relationship dynamic, which means those of us who live this way stay trapped in constant emotional hypervigilance. And over time, it starts costing us peace, energy, clarity, identity, nervous system, joy, the connection with ourselves, and a lot of times the connection with others. Caring about people is healthy. Having empathy is healthy. Supporting people is healthy. But carrying emotional responsibility for everyone else's experience and emotional experience, that will drain you completely. Especially because no matter how hard you try, you cannot control other people's feelings, other people's reactions, other people's healings, other people's triggers, and other people's disappointments. You don't get to control them. They do. You control your own. Those are the only things we get to control in life is what we say, how we act, what we feel, and what we do. It's how we act. Okay. So there's three: what we say, how we act, and how we feel. We get to control our own behaviors, but we can't control anyone else's. So if you live in this cycle, this is the best thing I can ever tell you. It's time for you to get awareness around it so that you can stop it. Because you can't control them, and you will kill yourself trying to do it. Maybe not literally, but you will become a shell of the person you used to be. I've seen it firsthand, and I almost experienced it. So many women spend years trying to earn emotional safety by managing everyone else around them. And honestly, that's why boundaries can feel terrifying. Because if your nervous system learned people being upset means I'm unsafe, then saying no and feel emotionally dangerous even when it's healthy. This is where the science really comes in for all of this. Because when we learn what we can do and how we can treat ourselves better and let other people own their own emotions, then we get to find peace for ourselves. We can't do it while we're trying to micromanage everyone else's emotions. And this is why self-awareness matters so much. Because once you begin noticing this pattern, you start catching moments like, oh my gosh, I'm explaining too much. Oh, I jumped in to fix that too quickly. It doesn't make you bad because you did it. It doesn't make you bad at all. It means I'm learning, and how would I like to change it next time? You'll notice when you start absorbing tension immediately or abandoning your own needs to keep someone else comfortable. Awareness creates choices. How would I like to do it differently? And that choice changes everything. Because you will either learn that you don't know how to do it differently, so you need to ask for help if you're ready, that you want to do it differently, but you're not willing to put in the work, not ready, that you don't want to do it differently, that you don't really care, still not ready, or that you want to do it differently and you know how to do it and you know how to put those steps in place and you do the work. Because that's what it boils down to. So if you're listening to this right now, I want you to ask yourself very honestly, how much of my energy, emotional or otherwise, is spent managing how other people feel? And who would I be if I stopped believing everyone else's emotions were my responsibilities? Sit with that. Meditate on that. Journal around that. But be honest about it, because you deserve that. If this episode resonated with you, I want to invite you to download my reflection guide, Where Am I Abandoning Myself? It walks you through some of the emotional patterns we've been talking about in this series and helps you begin reconnecting with yourself again in small, honest ways. You can grab it at www.thankfulheartscoaching.com/choose you. And if you're realizing how deeply these patterns are affecting your life and relationships, I also offer private Choose You sessions where we explore where you may be abandoning yourself, what emotional patterns are keeping you stuck, and what choosing yourself could begin to look like in real life. You can learn more about these in the guide. And if this episode made you think of another woman who constantly carries everyone else emotionally, Send it to her. Tell her about it. Make sure she watches it. Because so many of us are walking around emotionally overloaded while believing that's just what being good looks like. If you loved this episode, please rate it with 5 stars. If you're on Apple Podcast, give it a quick review. If you're on YouTube, just shoot us a message. Tell me down in the show notes what you liked, what came about. And before you go, I want you to sit with one more question. What if other people's emotions are information, but not your responsibility? Thank you for being here with me today.